During World War II, the Italian Air Force launched a bombing raid on the British oil facilities in Dhahran and Bahrain. The raid was carried out by SM-82 bombers that had to travel over 2,600 miles. Something that occurred on the way to this raid was that one of the Italian bombers got lost in the clouds, but then arrived to bomb its target. I just thought that was kind of funny. So during the attack, 132 bombs and 15 kilograms each were dropped and damaged the Bahrain refineries and caused minor damages to the Dhahran facilities. Effects of the Italian bombing of Dhahran and Bahrain were that the Allies increased their air defenses in the region and that spending the resources on air defenses was more of a drain than the actual damages that had been inflicted upon the oil facilities. So, sorry spaghetti, it was mostly a propaganda victory for the Italians instead of actual damages to the facilities. But in this propaganda victory, it spread the fact that Italian bombers could reach further and farther. The Bahrain raid was followed by other long-distance Italian air raids on Ethiopia and Eritrea in 1942 and would have been repeated with an advanced SM-82 bomber in a raid on New York City in the summer of 1943 that never happened because of various reasons, including the Allied invasions of Sicily, and the Italians also had a lot more pressing issues than launching a bomber to attack New York City. But what if, in an alternate timeline, the Italians did launch the planned bombing of New York City in the summer of 1943 using that advanced SM-82 bomber? In this alternate timeline, we are going to have to change the level of Allied advances against the Italian peninsula so that Italy feels bold enough to conduct this air raid. In this alternate timeline, we'll assume that the Allies have to postpone the invasion of Sicily and are bogged down in Tunisia. The Italian SM-82 bomber crosses the Atlantic and hits New York City as America panics that the attack had occurred on the U.S. continent. Because the Italians bombed New York, the War Department cannot hide this attack like they did for the Japanese balloon attacks on the West Coast in our timeline. This results in mass hysteria among the U.S. population as America increases the spending on anti-aircraft and radar detection stuff on the continental U.S. to be placed in cities. This attack causes the U.S. public to be sharply against Italy in this timeline compared to where they were in our timeline, due to obviously bringing the war to the American home soil and killing a wide range of American civilians in New York. Again, the American public is terrorized at the fact that an Italian bomber was able to cross the Atlantic and bomb New York City. Americans are angry with the Italians, but the U.S. military and policymakers would likely follow the historical route regarding the Italian strategy. It would not be that Americans decide, oh, let's just start immediately killing every single Italian they come across. No, that would not be the case at all. It's possible that there would be more bombing raids planned by Germany and Italy to the United States and other allied countries that were further away, but they wouldn't be able to implement any of these planned attacks. It would mostly just be a massive propaganda victory and power play move for the Axis instead of having actual strategic impacts. The American and Allied retribution would be great towards the Italian Social Republic after the Kingdom of Italy switches sides, with more bombing raids planned and conducted in northern Italy. Germany might see this America raid as a reason to start investing even more than they already did into superweapons, but I don't think they would make any impact as they really had little to no strategic impacts for our timeline in World War II. It's also possible, but very unlikely, that the Italian bombing of New York makes Operation Bolivar partially successful and brings the South American country of Argentina into World War II against the U.S. For those who don't know, Operation Bolivar was the German intelligence operation to get Latin American countries to enter the war and sabotage the Allied war effort that was affected by the region. Argentina could join the war, and Paraguay and Chile remain neutral, but have many German intelligence assets as those states were the states that Germany had the most influence in. But again, I still think this is very unlikely, but it's still worth mentioning as a potential very unlikely variable to occur. So some of the major changes are that the Allies are less easy on Italy during and after the war despite the Italians switching sides. But I feel like not much would change in the post-war geopolitical landscape. The main difference would be that Italian war criminals are prosecuted more than they were in our timeline. And that's pretty much all the changes that I think would happen. Initial chaos in America, more air defenses throughout the continent, and prosecution of Italian war criminals. But that's just one possible scenario for if the Italians had successfully bombed New York City during World War II. What do you think would have happened? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you for watching.